Sam, how do you sum that up? I mean, the last 5 goals in the game. You had a great win last week. Where does this sit?
I was really happy, to be honest. I was happy for the players. I was happy for the staff, and we knew last week we played against an opposition who were crippled by injury, and we were able to do what was required to play well. And we knew that it would be a different challenge against a St Kilda side that we haven't beaten for a long time. And their heat around the ball and their pressure, we were able to withstand it. And I think there was a lot of moments that were very similar to other moments across the season. They kicked 2 goals really quickly in the third quarter. We're sort of three goals down with not too long to go. So there was lots of moments that were like other games. But the resilience and the work that we've done and the work that the players have done on learning from past experiences and being able to put things in place in the moment. As simple as Jacob Kazitsky's goal. We were laughing about how many thousands of shots at goal he's had in the last 10 weeks. Even when he wasn't playing in the senior side, he'd just been working so hard at it, and you just get that one moment and you take it, and all of the work is worth it. So our players will learn from that and grow from it.
How did you like out the week? I mean, there's been so much intense focus about the off-field, from the CEO to the investigation. I'm sure it has an impact on the footy department and the players. How did you block it out?
Yeah, I mean, the club as a whole has had a big 3 weeks. In the media for a lot of non-football related topics, and as a playing group, coaching staff, football department, we know that we are the ones who put the brown and gold jumper on. We're the face of the club, face of 80,000 people, 100 staff, as well as the players and your own families and all those things, and being able to make the 80,000 proud of what they see. We don't have any control over the outside noise, the outside issues that are at hand, but what we have control over is the intent that our fans see. And even if we hadn't won that game, I think every Hawthorn person that came to the game or watched it on TV said that's a team that play for each other and work hard and they love their colours. And I was really proud of our strength of character to be able to play the right way regardless of external noise.
Put up a big score last week, Sam, and then today maybe not as big a score as it could have been, but still had those chances in front of goal. How happy are you with that offensive side of your game at the moment?
Yeah, I mean, early part of the year we struggled to get the ball inside 50, and I think we had 58 inside 50s, and we left a lot of scores out there, particularly in the first half. And I think most of us watched the game last night and looked at Carlton and thought, oh, poor. I thought to myself, Vossi must be, battling. And then I felt myself in exactly the same situation where we did a lot right and we just didn't get reward for effort. And to be fair, though, we've done that in some other games this year and not been able to stay with it and not be able to continue to play in the right manner to give ourselves more chances. And the growth in the group to be able to stick to the process, to keep playing the right way and to keep taking chances. I mean, Dylan Moore's goal, I think he's missed 4 or 5 of those, and he just nails the one that really matters, and his confidence to take off and kick that goal, his vice-captain of the club. And I think moments like that are really important.
How big was the win, Sam, given all that, you're 4-10 at half-time, you've spoken so often about we're good in patches and then we shoot ourselves in the foot with something. The stuff that's happened off field, and you get a mob that could have been in the top 4 today, or would have been in the top 4 today had they won. How big is it?
Well, the coach and media person who's been around for a while says, it's just 4 points. We'll just take the 4 points. But I mean, realistically for us, that was a game that regardless of St Kilda, I think the belief we got out of last week was we're playing against a team that are in a really difficult position. And so we take it and we say, okay, we know what to do. Now we need to do it against better teams. And we knew that St Kilda would be that better team. And now the level of belief that the players get from that isn't absolute. At no point in this game do you know, okay, we've got it now. We know that we are capable for longer periods more often, but we're far from a finished product. But we made progress today, and that was a bigger step forward than some other games. And realistically, the 4 points is great because we all get to enjoy the next 24 or 48 hours, but pretty quickly, particularly the coaching group, we get on to Port Adelaide.
Where does that performance stack up from James Sicily in terms of defensive performances? I mean, We saw Darcy Moore last Sunday. That feels even better.
It's the best individual game I've coached a player in. I think he had 42 possessions, 21 intercept possessions, eight intercept marks. Believe it or not, I actually dragged him at one stage in the game because he just has lost his way a little bit. And I think the growth of him as a leader is that exact thing, that it didn't go perfectly. He had some moments that he would he coughed up a goal and he had a couple of iffy decisions with the ball, but then straight away he goes after it again and he played exactly the right way for 95% of that game. And I think it was as good a game as I've seen from an individual player. I think that every time we looked like we were breached and they were going to score, if Sicily was in the area, we were okay.
Just in terms of leadership though, it's been a huge week again for this club. For your captain to do that this week, how significant is that?
I think, from a leadership point of view, none of the players that are in our formal leadership program have been in a leadership group ever before. So going into the year, we tried to view that this is a strength. These are players who have got no history, they've got no formal roles behind them, so we can create whatever we want to create. And I think what he's been able to do with bringing that group together, and I think Luke Bruce and Dylan Moore as vice captains have supported him in an enormous way. But I'd also say Sam Frost, who does a lot of the organisation behind the scenes with that group. I think the fans, they see Frosty, and he had a couple of moments today, but he's so reliable off the field, and he always puts the team in front of himself at every opportunity. And I think when you look at that group, their strength of character and what they've been able to do and growing through the year has been one of the great positives, regardless of what we see on the field. I think when you look at, at the start of the year, they're trying to give each other some negative feedback or some solid feedback, and it was really uncomfortable. But now they're just straight talking to each other all the time and making each other better, and you've seen the growth in Sis, and today was what we've seen in the background coming to fruition.
How do you cop getting dragged?
Well, no, it wasn't. It was like, just get him off now. Okay, we'll have a bit of a chat. He goes, yeah, I know. So Sis and I think a captain and a coach relationship can be pretty special, and we've spent a lot of time together, and he knows that if I'm dragging him, it's for his own good. So, his last 20 minutes, regardless of how well he played in the first three quarters, his last 20 minutes was just phenomenal.
How important is Connor Nash become for you? There's a big focus on Irishmen this weekend because O'Shane Mullen's playing right now, but Connor Nash, you look at these last 2 months, every week he's now performing. How's he done it?
I think we always talk that progression's not linear. You don't get one step better every week. That's not how it works. Quite often you do the same thing and you're working at something for 10 weeks before you see any change, but then the change is big. And I think, with Nashi, he's played a lot of footy now. He's played 50-something games, and he's been around the AFL environment for long enough that he understands everything. And I think the thing that you can't underestimate with Nashi is the strength of character that he has. He was captain of everything that he had. Every single team that he ever played in Ireland, he was the captain of. And now he's come over to a completely foreign game. He's really proud of his heritage, but he's a guy that we know we can rely on, and we always have. He probably got games in the past because we knew we could rely on him to get his job done. He was never going to be the best player on the ground, but he would get his job done. And that sometimes you need those players, but he's become much more than that. But it's not by chance or by luck. It's by the work ethic and the desire that he's had to work on so many different aspects of his game. And a bit like Jacob Kosicki with his goal kicking over 10 weeks, he's been doing it over probably 6 or 7 years now.
Just a word on that old bloke in the number 22 who's looking like exactly the way he was playing 10 years ago when you were winning flags. Just he did it again today, and he's 1 off 500 goals.
Is he?
Yeah.
1 off 500. Did he miss any today?
Yeah.
I might be glad about that, so I actually will recognise it as a pretty special effort. Luke Bruce, the thing about him is he turned up to the club. He was scared of everything. He wore a mouthguard in a time trial, and then now he's this player that's just so tough, and his leadership. It's unbelievable that he'd never been in a leadership group before. But what he does, he spends the most time of all of our players certainly of the last 5 or 6 years, spending time with other players, making them better. So if you watch Tyler Brockman and Sam Butler, I think every time they kick a goal or do something good, I think Luke Breust is the happiest person on the field because he takes them for hours and hours and hours of work, and he's a fantastic person to have around our organisation. He's the last premiership player that we have, and I think he's enormously celebrated within the four walls of our organisation.
Any injuries?
No, I don't think so. No. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.